Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. The two-day Hero Mindmine Summit, reputedly one of India's most influential ideas exchange platforms, was the stage where over 50 eminent speakers and 400 delegates touched upon a plethora of issues.
India has to develop, the states has to develop. Without states developing, you cannot develop India.
Former Army Chief General Bikram Singh enlightened the audience on the requirements for a modern army and how the Indian Army is fighting fit for the 21st century.
India is supposed to have the fourth largest standing army in the world. You've headed this fighting force. What do you think it needs? What do you think India needs in terms of, whether it's in terms of modernizing the armed forces, in terms of recruiting a talent pool from a wider or more diverse section of the population, modernizing it? What do you think the army needs to keep itself fighting fit?
Let me start by saying this, that you have a very strong, a very robust, a very well-trained army. And yes, there are certain drawbacks, which if you ask me frankly, any army of the world would have those drawbacks, and that is that you never have the 100% equipment with you. No army has got it, not even the United States Army. I'm a graduate of the US Army War College. I was there for 1 year. I've interacted with the Americans. Even they have large number of deficiencies. But where we stand out today is, our ability to leverage our intellectual prowess of our leaders, our strategic leaders, our doctrines, our strategy, our operational art. Equipment-wise, yes, there are initiatives by the government which are very much on the rails, on track to make sure that the deficiencies are made up, the ammunition deficiencies are made up, equipment is brought in, your artillery, your air defense, night vision capability, your mobility, long-range vectors, all that is going into. And let me tell you, I was interacting with some of the senior officers. They told me that the kind of procurements of the financial year 2016-17 have been 3 times more than the previous 5 years. So, I would say the Ministry of Defense has been able to hone the present system of acquisitions, shorten the cycle, make sure there is better transparency, decision making is much faster, and we are able to cater for the deficiencies.
So this Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which has been in operation in J&K for the last 20-25 years, in the Northeast actually, in Assam, it's been there since the 50s. Do you think that it should be withdrawn, or it should be sort of...
I think it's not the right time, Jyoti, to get the Armed Forces Special Powers Act either to, I would say, to bring down its provisions, to reduce its provisions, or temper with its provisions, and for that matter, even lifting from there. I have mentioned this a number of times earlier. Let it be actually based on pragmatic analysis, prognostic, futuristic analysis of the environment. How do we perceive things in that particular state? Only then we should go about lifting it. Trust me, time is not ripe at the moment. We shouldn't do that. I think let it continue.
Yet you told me yourself, General, when the surgical strikes took place in Pakistan from across the line of control, you told me yourself that this was not the first time that this had happened.
I'll tell you what, it has happened earlier. And why I said that it has happened earlier is because the people who died in that, the people who lost their limbs, as a mark of respect to their sacrifice and to their families, I think we got to acknowledge it. But yes, the present government deserves all the kudos, all the praises, all the appreciation for 2 reasons. One, essentially, where it went away from this, the political will. This is the first time we had a political will, where the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Finance Minister, the Minister of State, PMO, all of them in unison with the same voice said, we are going to hit Pakistan. And then we went and did it. So this government deserves all the praise for that. And I think it's a great thing we have done. Finally, we have conveyed a message that, look, we are no more that, that mentality of, that pigeon mentality. When you see threat, you put your, is that ostrich mentality? You put your head into the sand and you just wait that the threat will go away. We're being more realistic today. So I think that was something great. The other was the magnitude at which the operation went through. Earlier, operations were done at spectacle level. You go, kill people, 20 people, 10 people and come back. But here is the operation which went at 7 to 8 different places on a very broad front. And I think I salute the political decision for this. It required guts. It required having trust and faith in your military that they'll be able to deliver. And let me tell you, your army has delivered. Delivered beautifully.
Minister for Law and Justice and Electronics and IT, Ravi Shankar Prasad, took to the stage to list out the government's initiatives as part of the Digital India program and its profound impact on India's smaller towns and cities.
Tell us a little about the interesting plan you were developing to set up BPOs in the rural parts of Bihar and other states.
After becoming the IT minister in 2014, I had gone to Bangalore. I was addressing a lot of IT friends. When I was coming out, a lot of young boys from Bihar and UP were there. I come from Bihar to welcome me. And I remember their words, Ravi Bhaiya kuch aisa kariye ki hum apne gaon laut sake. I'm getting my point. And then the idea struck me that India's digital profile, though rich, is very restricted. Delhi, your Gurgaon, Noida, Bombay, Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mysore. That's all. Rest all were only computer training centers. And from there came this rural BPO scheme, 48,000 seats allocated to states as per their population. UP got 8,000, Bihar got 4,600 likewise. 1 lakh rupees subsidy per head. And subsidy to be distributed if you employ a woman, 5%. If you employ a disabled, 2%. If you promote local entrepreneur, 10%. Like that. Sunil, it is a matter of such great pride for me personally. If BPO is coming in Patna, in Muzaffarpur, in Kannauj, in Bulandshahr, in Etawah, in Gorakhpur, it is a new digital India emerging with the involvement of the local people and other things. So that's how, and I can only tell you, we are promoting digital delivery of services in a very big way. We are going to launch very soon, Sunil, Digi Village, Digital Gaon. 1,000 villages in the country as a pilot, where e-health, e-study, they are going to promote.
On the software systems, on developing new processes, on providing digital public services, we are clearly moving forward very, very significantly. There's another parallel track that we had spoke about some years ago, and you and I had this conversation also some months ago, about India's hardware industry. The IT hardware industry, worldwide, it is the single largest manufacturing industry. We are now very keen to grow manufacturing in India. Make in India is one of our big ambitious programs. What do you think we can actually do to make it happen?
I'm very proud as an IT minister of India's IT companies. They have kept the flag of India flying. They are present in 200 cities of 80 countries. The total revenue today is nearly 150 crores. They have exported IT products worth 7 lakh crore, the highest last year. They give job to 1 crore people indirectly, 30 lakh directly, and 1/3 are women. That is the scale on which Indian IT company works. And let me make a clear statement today, Sunil, in your presence, in Mind Game. Indian IT company don't steal jobs. They create jobs wherever they go. In USA, they have made 2/3 of the Fortune companies as competitive by giving value addition. They have given $20 billion as taxes to American revenue kitty, including CSR. But yes, software has been a great success story. We need also to enlarge the hardware. And you talked of Make in India. I am very happy to tell you, I had mentioned last year about the initial success. Modi ji asked me, Ravi Shankar, tum kehte ho 108 crore phone hai, bante kitne hai? I got the hint, and today I am very happy to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, 72 new mobile manufacturing factories have come in India in the last 2 years. 42 mobile manufacturing and 30 component, battery, charger, etc. When our government has come in electronic manufacturing, only 11,000 crores have been invested, proposed to be. Now it is 1,27,000 crore. Auto electronics, defense electronics, medical electronics, consumer electronics, all are rising in a very big way. And I'm happy this hardware power is emerging. And ladies and gentlemen, what is the potential I see of India? Digital economy of India, and mark my word, digital economy of India. When I say digital economy, I mean communication, I mean IT and IT enabled services, software and hardware, I mean digital payment, I mean e-commerce, I also mean cyber security, because cyber security is also emerging as a big area of employment. It is going to be a $1 trillion economy in the coming 5 to 7 years. And that is what I am aiming at, and that's what India is going to showcase to the world.
Dr. Arvind Panagaria, Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, touched upon the drastic need for agricultural reforms in the country that would give the rural farmer his dues.
So one of the concerns in India has been food production and the number of people depending on agriculture, and agriculture's contribution dropping consistently over a period of time in the GDP, and thereby a large poverty creation in the rural areas. What do you think are the 2 or 3 big reforms or changes that India can do to actually double, because the government has a stated position today of doubling farm incomes? What are the 2 or 3 big things that are practical and possible to do in the immediate foreseeable future, which could genuinely help in doubling this or then going beyond?
So in the short run, clearly what has to happen is that the farmers have to begin getting larger share of the price that all of us pay for the farm produce. In today's marketing setup, where farmers effectively are beholden to the government-run Agricultural Produce Marketing Committees Act, mandis, there are these APMC Act under which mandis are set. So APMC mandis, as they are called. Farmers largely, by and large, actually are beholden to selling their product there. And the way the marketing is organized in these mandis, the long and short of this is that at the end of the day, farmer actually gets a very small fraction of the price that the final consumer pays. So this distribution can simply be changed by making the marketing of agricultural produce a lot more competitive. Give rise to the farmers to sell directly to whosoever they want to sell to, as well as give rise to the other entities to buy directly from the farmers, get more and more marketing places, more and more mandis created in a given area, so that there is competition across mandis. And that very quickly will help raise the prices that the farmer receives. So that's one form of reform, but longer term, productivity has to be raised. You have to shift farmers also into high value products like animal husbandry, fisheries, the horticulture, etc. All this is happening. I mean, there is a lot of movement in this direction. In Andhra Pradesh, a lot of progress has already happened. Gujarat, a lot of progress along these lines has happened. In some of the other states, it is underway.
What are the few big agendas that Niti Aayog has right now, and are these aligned with what the country's agenda is?
Well, our agenda has to align with the country's agenda. Prime Minister is the chairman of the Niti Aayog. So whatever we do actually has to have the approval of the Prime Minister. So in this sense, of course, the agenda is aligned. Now, what are the things we have been doing? I mean, our canvas is rather wide, so I'll just give a few examples of what we have been doing. I mentioned already the vision document and the 3-year action agenda that we are going to be putting out soon. But a lot of the policy, I mean, unlike perhaps the Planning Commission, we have a much greater policy role. So as an example, the Medical Council, Indian Medical Council reform was put on the anvil. So Niti Aayog was entrusted with formulating a legislation that will replace the Indian Medical Council Act of 1956. So we have actually done that. We have formulated the legislation. Now it has to finally go to the interministerial group and then it goes to the parliament. Alongside, we have also done legislation for homeopathy and Indian systems of medicine, which had problems very similar to what the IMC Act had. Second, I think, we also initiated on our own, which the Prime Minister then, Prime Minister's office blessed, which was the closure of the sick units. This is a sort of initiative we took at our end, that we said, look, in these units, public sector enterprises which have been sick for a long time, it's about time we start closing them down. The PMO said, yes, go ahead. We then, one by one, did the full analysis, submitted our reports, and of course, several of these sick units were cleared by the cabinet for closure, and several of them are now under closure. I hope you have been reading in the newspaper reports. Also on privatization, at least we were called in to identify units that ought to be strategically disinvested, which is a term used for privatization. And there again, we have identified several units. The third list is about to go from the Niti Aayog of the units that ought to be privatized. And the cabinet actually has also given an okay on about 20 such units. So now the job is to be done by the Ministry of Finance. That's where the matter currently stands.
The 12th edition of the prestigious Brij Mohanlal Munjal Awards for Excellence in Business through Learning and Development took place at the summit. HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar gave away the awards, felicitating organizations that have successfully deployed programs and implemented innovative strategies, processes and systems for learning and development, using people development as a tool to achieve business excellence. The first set of awards was presented in the services category, with Aditya Birla Financial Services being adjudged the winner in the private sector subcategory. Lemon Tree Hotels took the runner-up spot in the same category. In the PSU subcategory, the winner was the State Bank of India, whereas Container Corporation of India was adjudged the runner-up. Manufacturing was the second category, and the award in the private sector went to Larsen & Toubro. Dabur India was the runner-up in the same category. In the Cooperative or PSU subcategory, Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation or Amul was adjudged the winner. With Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders taking the runner-up place. Up next was the Emerging Stars category, where Policy Bazaar was felicitated as the winner. Logi Next Solutions was adjudged the runner-up in this category. The award ceremony culminated with the bestowment of the Sustained Excellence Award, with HDFC Bank taking the top honor. The runner-up in this category was Indian Oil Corporation. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.